The first rule of any subject to me is that it's got to be interesting. And I've got to find it interesting no matter what it is. There's just a number of things which I find interesting, subjects. Rosie fleeing the country, the Obama's marriage being a hoax, and Epstein still remains unsolved. And the first thing I want to do is I want to talk to you about this, but I want you to understand that I only talk about things that I know. If I suspect something, I will tell you I suspect it, I think it is, but I won't tell you that something is so unless I know it is so. That's all it is. It's called critical thinking. Knowing, wishing, believing, guessing, know the differences. That's all. It's all I want you to ask, my friends. All I want you to understand. It's a very, very important thing. And when you look at it, oftentimes people look at things differently than the way I look at it. Does that make any sense to you? Let's talk first of all about Rosie fleeing the country. Why is that important? Let me tell you why it's important. It is important because of the fact that for reasons I shan't understand, Rosie believes we care. Rosie believes we care about her leaving or not come or whatever. She believes, this is the most important thing in the world, she believes that we care. There was a joke years ago that said, why do women, here's the joke, why do women fake orgasms? The answer, because they think we care. Is that horrible? It's terrible. It's awful. This is a brand new video that just dropped this second regarding the Obamas, but we'll talk about first Rosie O'Donnell, then the Obamas, if that's okay with you. And I'm fascinated by this because the thing is, do you think, Rosie, that we care? And I think she really sort of thinks that maybe that we care. I really think I think she thinks we care. In what can be only described as we've said, the least, I guess, surprising and most irrelevant relocation maybe of the decade or ever. Rosie O'Donnell has officially left, so she says, the United States for Ireland. There was a place on 9th Avenue. 9th Avenue, 8th Avenue. There's a little bar. And I went in one day and I was walking down I was in the hood and I had to go in, I had to use a restroom. You know, where you want to pretend like I'm gonna get something, and you go in and you leave. But as I walked towards the men's room in the back, who was sitting there but Rosie O'Donnell? And she looked at me, and I looked at her. We didn't say anything, but I think she recognized me. It must have or something. I don't know what, but there was a look of. She did have some very interesting things to say about 9/11, if that matters. But Rosie has left the United States. This former this morning when she did her piece, she did her little bit on news. She goes, "Hi, this is Rosie, the star from the Flintstones." It was 1994. Think about this. This is 31 years ago. Okay, I thought A League of Her Own, she was pretty good. When she did her show, it was terrific until the moment came where she blasted Tom Selleck. And that's when it was over. She had somebody from Styx on. It was very, very good, very funny. And then she showed her true self. She's mean. She's a big mouth. She's angry. A self-proclaimed activist. Apparently now has finally packed her bags and fled across the Atlantic. And yet, the most shocking part of this entire story, the entire saga, absolutely nobody cares. Nobody even noticed she was gone. Nobody. For years, she threatened to leave the country whenever anything went wrong, whenever it was. She swore, I'm leaving. Whenever things didn't go her way politically, she says, I am leaving. She vowed to move to Canada when George W. Bush won re-election in 2004. Remember that one? I'm going to go to Canada. Okay, go ahead. Well, she did. And then she claimed she would pack up and flee when Trump won in 2016. Well, she didn't. And each time she stayed put, changed her mind, gracing America with her endless tirades, this bilge, this spew and spewage against conservatives and capitalism, whatever. I don't know. And most of all, Donald Trump, and he hated her and she hated him, and it was a love-hate match in heaven. But now in 2025, after realizing that her screeching has, I guess, lost whatever tiny audience maybe it had at some particular point, maybe, I don't know, she finally made good on her promise to leave and has left for the Emerald Isle. I'm on my way. She's gone to Ireland. Well, let's be clear. This isn't some dramatic exile. Certainly not a great loss for America. Nobody cares. Excuse me. Rosie is no dissident, no political refugee. She's simply another washed up celebrity fleeing, I guess, a country that she spent decades slandering. The country that made her, quote, fortune and her fame. The difference is, unlike other Hollywood elite types who claim they will abandon ship when things, kind of don't go their way, she actually did it. And what we say is, good riddance. It's difficult really to pinpoint exactly when Rosie went from this controversial media figure to this irrelevant has-been. I don't know what that point was, but the timeline is queer. Ooh, what was a pun? Clear. Somewhere between her feuds, I guess, with Trump and her increasingly unhinged social media rants and TikTok, this and that, America simply stopped listening. I mean, nobody cares. Nobody. She was on The View. She was okay. She and Hasselbeck used to go after. I mean, she was vicious. She could not handle it. She took everything personally. And O'Donnell was a prominent daytime host with a relatively mainstream audience. She really was pretty good at that. Well, that changed, as you know, when she decided that her career somehow would be better spent, better focused in hurling vitriol and acrimony and accusations at conservatives, alienating half the country. And I guess transforming herself into the poster child for Hollywood's far left extremism, who nobody knows. But it's fascinating. Her war with Trump. Why would you leave? What do you think you're getting over there that you're not? She says it's so horrible. What? Oh, this is abortion. What do you care about abortion? If anybody, I have a greater chance of getting pregnant than you do. What exactly was the highlight of her dissent? It began, I guess, with personal insults. And by the way, Trump gave as good as it gets, into a full-blown public meltdown. And as Trump, this is important, rose to political prominence and excellence and fandom and superiority, Rosie went from being a once popular TV personality at the time to this deranged, unhinged lunatic, this activist who seemed basically incapable of discussing anything. Anyway, so she's gone. And it's wonderful. It is absolutely wonderful to see that she is gone. It's beautiful. And the best part about everything too is, I always think, why would you do something that nobody cared about? And then we talked about, we invite you to this new video which just dropped, the Obama illusion. how America was sold a fairy tale that's now falling apart, if anybody cared. Because for years, and we know that Barack and Michelle Obama, they were the golden couple of the Democratic Party. Not us, but they were just, they were everything. Remember how she was so beautiful? Look at this. The embodiment of success and charisma and class and panache and cool and political brilliance and eloquence and erudition. Oh my God. But my friends, as you know, as time passes, the shine fades. Things don't exactly work out the way they are. And what's left behind is a kind of a crumbling illusion, a fraudulent marriage, a botched legacy, and I guess a presidency, now we're finding out, built more on style than substance. And Obama was never the once-in-a-generation political genius that the media told you he was. Oh, remember, he was a god. His whole thing was, he's black. And I always wondered this. If you are white, you have to be 100% white. Unless you are 100% white, you're not called white. Whatever you are, or maybe you have to be, I think, Asian American, or but they called him black. Black. Anyway, but that's fine. His presidency was a series of failures, one after another, presented and boxed and wrapped in this glittery PR nonsense. And his influence, this so-called influence in today's political climate, is nothing. It's nothing. It's this shadow clinging for relevance. As for Michelle, oh my God. She's got a new podcast with her brother. What they're talking about, I have no idea. Everybody thinks they can do it. Everybody thinks in a podcast. It's going to be interesting. Ask Meghan Markle how she's doing. She spent her entire public life trying to be Oprah. You know it and I know it. But will never quite escape the label of a second-rate political spouse who just kind of lucked out. Kind of mysterious. Remember her, what was it, her thesis or whatever at Princeton? Oh, please. The marriage was a publicity stunt. Look, for years, for years, rumors have swirled about the true nature of Barack and Michelle's relationship. And are they truly the loving power couple they portray in magazine covers and, the Netflix things, or is their marriage, most likely, just another carefully constructed narrative, designed to maintain, I guess, their public image? I don't know. But their chemistry has always felt more like a scripted TV romance than a genuine relationship. You know what I mean? And observers left and right have noted for forever that the interactions that they have often seem forced and phony. And unlike other political types of couples who, despite, ideological differences, share some kind of genuine warmth. Just to say what you want about President Trump and Melania, I think there's something, they are what they are. I don't think it's staged for, I think it is what it is. They're not pretending to be anything. And you can always tell when somebody's pretending. Laura and George Bush were good. They weren't pushing. They were what it was. That was it. And the Obamas still frequently appear to be like more business partners rather than life partners. And now they're not even together. They're separate. He was at the basketball game and Carter's funeral when Obama and Trump were just yakking it up. And Michelle's post-White House career has been revealing. Instead of standing beside Barack, whatever, in political battles or at least picking up the, carrying on the legacy, whatever the hell it was, she's tried to forge this kind of this independent brand. And it's trying to mimic and she's trying to duplicate Oprah Winfrey. She wants that empire, but without the same mass appeal. And she has these, have you ever seen her books? Oh my God, they're written. It's almost like a 16-year-old writing in a diary. These memoirs, best-selling my ass. They just said they were best-selling. Cooking and wellness ventures. Remember this HBO thing about a day in the life where she went to the gym and she's got, I mean, I don't know. She's kind of like Rosie O'Donnell. Why do you think we're interested? Michelle Obama seems far more interested in marketing herself. And you know, and I know that she must be crushed. I personally do not believe she is a man. I do not, sorry, Candace Owens, do not believe that. She might be large, she might be muscular, she might be what you consider to be masculine. No, I don't believe that. By the way, where did Candace Owens' a big Brigitte Macron thing go? Nowhere. Where did Candace Owens' big thing about Kamala Harris isn't black, or she's, where'd it go? Went nowhere. It went nowhere. Think about this one. But anyway, she's trying something. And the question remains still, I keep telling you, if she truly believed in what her husband allegedly built, why is she so eager to distance herself from it? That's the thing. They never did anything after the fact where they worked together for any philanthropy, anything, nothing with Chicago, nothing. Obama's presidency was a series of failures. I don't know where they get, you strip away the media praise and all this bullshit, and what's left of the Obama presidency is this basically a weakened America, economic struggles that President Trump is getting us out of eventually, a foreign policy that many people believe emboldened and gave, strength to America's enemies, and a domestic agenda that was non-existent, that left a lot of Americans, everyday folks, worse off than before. So we can go through the economy and all that's kind of boring and that sort of thing. But the issue, which I find most interesting, is very simply this. Nobody believes them. They don't have something. She wants to be something she's not. She sat out for 2 years. I don't believe for a moment she would ever want to be president. The Democratic Party, you may not have the Democratic Party anymore. You hear what I'm saying? You may not have the party anymore. Period. Period. It may not be there. It may not be there. So keep that in mind. The final piece is what is happening regarding the Epstein investigation. Where is it going? What is happening? Where are we going? Is it over with? Are we done? Is that it? Are you going to talk about I guess you're going to talk about what? The flight logs again? Or I think that's done. And I'm telling you, that is not going to be good. People want some form of resolution, something to be done with this. I don't know what. So that's where we are today with this. And it is incredible. Those three subjects, Rosie, the Obama, we're talking about them again, Epstein, and how the president, about what he's doing. It's only been 50 days, but on the morning show on Lionel Nation, and by the way, thank you for being this. Make sure you're subscribed to Lionel Legal here. I told you before, I do not like anything that's being done. The idea that Sean Hannity was spending so much time talking about, of all things, beef tallow no, I don't care about that. Seed oils, I don't care about that. Avian flu, but no, I'm not, no. Bobby Kennedy sounds like he's doing what he did before. The other day we had Pam Bondi, very good, known her a long time. She and Lara Trump are walking around kind of laughing about it. And I took those signs down off the wall at DOJ, and they told me, well, Maintenance is going to do that. I said, well, no, I took it down and it took me 30 minutes and I did. Okay, that's nice. Better go somewhere beyond that. I saw one of the most important, great interview. It wasn't really an interview. It was more like a lecture. But Sergei Lavrov with Judge Napolitano is fantastic. Smartest man. And Marco Rubio's against him. Oh, dear God. Dear God. Whoa. Whoa. That's all I got to do is say, whoa. That is going to be truly something. And maybe we'll get to the bottom, ultimately, of this notion of Trump. President Putin said, I don't want there to be a ceasefire so they can gain power, rest up, fortify. No. And finally, my friend, I'm going to give you another, make sure you pay attention to this one. I'm very troubled by hearing somebody suggest to me that you would not be able to express, quote, anti-Semitism on a college campus. Violence, I can understand. Destruction of property, I can understand. Anti-Semitism, an idea, no. These are all of, this is the stuff, ladies and gentlemen, that we got to be very, very careful about. And what I'm afraid of is everybody, you could forget the conservative media because they have no interest in this. They're 100% for Ukraine, I guess. They're pro-war. I don't know. They're completely worthless when it comes to that. But let me explain something to you. In 1977 or whatever it was, when the Klan marched in Skokie, the Supreme Court said, absolutely. It is not against the law to be a member of the Klan. It is not against the law to be, quote, a follower of Hamas or Hezbollah or the Houthis or Al-Aqsa Brigade or Mossad or whatever you want. You can follow and believe in and a follower of any, I don't even know what that means. Do not let us lose our First Amendment, my friends. Do not let us lose our First Amendment in this. The freedom of speech means the freedom to think. Now, again, if you're a part of some campus group and you're planning, conspiring to exact violence, that's one thing. But merely by suggesting that you believe in something where somebody says, well, they've been called a terrorist. Okay, fine. The Klan was, and the Klan in 77 was actually something. Today it's almost non-existent. So keep this in mind, my friends. Keep this in mind. We have a wonderful group of things to be discussing. So let me say, I wanted to remind you that this is Lionel Legal. I want you to make sure you are subscribed to this. Think about what I've said. So great. Thank you for your support. Thank you for being a part of this. It has been a wonderful time. I hope that we will get to do this again. That's all. Keep those things in mind. Keep thinking. Keep thinking. Don't let anybody tell you what to think, but keep an open mind. And until next time, my friends, as I always say, normally, the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya. Ta-ta.